Hi guys, this is the Zone with No Laugh. Sorry for not uploading in about a week. It's baseball school, baseball school, baseball school, baseball school. But anyway, these are my projected records for teams this year. So let's hop into it. Number 1 is Jacksonville. They're going 5-12. I could care less I actually do care, but their defense is still struggling. The offense is only halfway there. I know they got Jared. Wait, didn't they get Jared Cook? No, I think the Chargers got Jared Cook. But anyway, I think they have Trevor Lawrence. They have DJ Chark. That probably go well together. They got a couple nice additions with Marvin Jones and definitely with Marvin Jones, and they even got Shaquille Griffin for the defense. But I still think 5-12 is a reasonable record because they don't have a really good defensive line at all. They're not. I think Shaquille Griffin wasn't like a great cornerback, just a good cornerback, you know. So I think even with Marvin Jones and everything, they still need wins with defense, and they don't have a great one. So that's why I'm putting out 5-12. Houston is going to go 2-15 without Deshaun because, again, that's going to be Deshaun's a great quarterback. He's definitely top 5, but their defense is horrible. Their offensive line's horrible. Their running back's getting old. He'll be washed in a couple of years. Their tight end's not good. The Texans are just horrible, and especially without Deshaun Bill, I bet they'll get an upset over a couple of other bad teams, but that's it. But with Deshaun, they'll be 4-13 because Deshaun's going to be a huge factor for them. But again, their team's basically absolutely garbage. I think 0-17 is not reasonable because there are a couple bad teams out there that may be bad. So I think they'll get a couple of wins, but they're definitely getting 15 losses without Deshaun. With Deshaun, only 13, but we'll see. Because Deshaun has 22 people accusing him or something. Anyway, so we're gonna look at the Colts. I think they're gonna go 12-5. They got Carson. Carson did bad because he had no good O-line. He didn't have a great coach. And he didn't have great targets. Indy, he'll have a young Michael Pittman. He'll have a red zone wide receiver and T.Y. Hilton. I mean, the receivers aren't great either, but they're way better than Philly. A young Michael Pittman is gonna break out into a star, and I think that'll really help him. He has a great O-line with Quentin Nelson is leading the way. I think their defense did pretty solid in the 2020 year, so I think they'll do solid this year. I mean, a lot of people didn't really go for Indy, but I think they have a decent secondary with Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore's underrated cornerback. They have, they have Darius Leonard. Just had a shabby year because of injuries again, but it's okay. I still think the Colts are gonna get 12 wins. Titans, they're going 11-6. They didn't have a great defense last year, but they still got some wins. So I think that's what will happen this time. But they'll be in second place. They have one of the best offenses in the league. They have Derrick Henry. They have a Ryan Tannehill. They have even though Corey Davis went, who cares? They have Josh Reynolds, pretty underrated wide receiver. They have a very flashy A.J. Brown. Anthony Fricks he'll probably be a great red zone tight end. And they'll probably draft someone with their pick. So I think they'll go 11-6. The Buffalo Bills, 14-3. Not self-explanatory. Their offense is great. Their defense isn't horrible or not. Their defense isn't horrible. Their defense isn't great. Basically in like the middle tier for the league. But they still have people like Jordan Poyer. They still have a young AJ Epineza that they could maybe incorporate into their defense. And again, they also have a draft pick, even though it's with the 30th pick. But they could pick someone that's going to lead, that's going to be a great defensive factor. Maybe even offensive line. I don't know, but their offense is great with Josh Allen. I'll pass on Devin Singletary. Thank you very much. But Zach Moss is everyone's like, oh, Zach Moss isn't great. It's because they didn't work him in. The Bills aren't a running back type of team, but if he had the chance, Zach Moss would probably be a breakout young star. They have Stephon and Cole Beasley, a veteran for the NFL, and then like a middle tier age, middle tier for age, not middle tier for skill. So I don't get confused. They signed Jacob Hollister. That'll definitely help them. So yeah, I think they'll go 14-3. Shouldn't be a surprise. New England 6-11. Cam Newton still has one more year left in him, I think, but he's not a great quarterback really anymore. He's not Superman Cam. Superman. Okay. Anyway, before I sound more stupid, their offense, Julian Edelman retired. Honestly, he didn't really do much for them in 2020. So I'm not, but thanks for Julian for all those years. Tom may have made you look the best, but we still loved you. Yeah, we'll talk about Julian Edelman and if he should get into the Hall of Fame in another episode, but that's not what this episode is about. Okay. Anyway, okay. But anyway, New England, they can work on their defense a little bit, but they're not a horrible defense. They just didn't do great this year because, a lot of their defense is turning old. I think they should try to do maybe a little bit of a rebuild, but, they squeaked in a few wins against even good teams. I think they're going to get a couple upsets. They still have a great coach, and Bill Belichick, so I think New England's still going to go 6-11. Okay, but the Dolphins going 12-5, two at a time. The time's not 2, by the way, for people who don't have a digital watch or a digital clock or something. So, yeah, but I think their defense did really good half the year for the second half of the year. I think their offense has a lot of potential, especially with the Will Fuller signing. But they are not going to be in first place because the Bills are just too good. But I love Tua. I think they have a lot of draft picks. So you know what? They maybe can be first place. They'll make it to the wild card round. I bet you they may make it to the the divisional game. You never know. So I think they're going to go 12-5. They're a really solid team, Miami. The Jets 5-12. That Robert Saleh signing is going to help them, but not so fast. Even if they draft a quarterback like a Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, maybe even if they want to reach for Mac Jones, it's going to take a couple years of development. It's not like Trevor Lawrence, where Trevor Lawrence is like top 3 prospect of all time, maybe top 5. Whatever your opinion is. But I think like if they got like Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, it would take like a couple years of development, maybe just 1 year of development. It depends, or who knows? They may be right ready like Justin Herbert. But I think their defense still needs some work. Their offense, Mekhi Becton will be a huge piece of their offense. Mekhi Becton, whatever quarterback they get. So I think they have potential, but not enough to do great this year. So they're going to be 5-12. The Chiefs 14-3. I'm not going to really explain this. They basically had the same team. Okay, moving on. The Chargers 11-6. They didn't do great this year because they had no good O-line. They got Corey Linsley. They got Jared Cook, who's not as great as Hunter Henry, but they still have a Keenan Allen who still has a lot of juice left in him. Same for Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler, great running back, and they're going to have him, if he can stay healthy, this team will be a great unit. They have a Joey Bosa still. They have lots of potential. Their defense isn't horrible either. It's not great, but it's not bad either. So I think they're gonna go 11-6. They'll be second place. The Raiders, they're going 8-9. They got a lot of people. They lost a lot of people. It's as simple as that. But they do have a pick that they could spend on. How will they get Benjamin St. Jude with whatever pick they have? If you guys are wondering, he was in the Senior Bowl, but he's projected to be like a 3rd, 4th round pick. So maybe even later. So I'll just fill you in on that. But anyway, they have Jonathan Abram, a great safety in my opinion. Heavy hitting, I love that. Like a Harrison Smith maybe. But Josh Jacobs is doing pretty good. Derek Carr, He's a decent QB still. He's a decent QB. They have a great Darren Waller. I think they'll be good enough to be 8-9, but I don't see them going any further just because they don't have a great defense or a great offense. It's just like Matt, It's like that team where you wouldn't pick first, but it's not the team you would pick last either in kickball, or something like that. But anyway, Broncos 4-13. I don't need to explain this. If they're smart and get a QB, they will, But I think the only one left would either be Trey Lance or Mac Jones. If they got Trey Lance, they'd probably have 6 wins. But even still, they don't have a. They have a Garrett Bowles, who's a great offensive lineman, but that's really about it. And their defense isn't great. It's not. It's not the. Wait, was it the no-fly zone or what? I get them and Seattle mixed up. I don't know, but anyway, we're not talking about defenses that were good in 2016. But anyway, let's move on. They don't have a great quarterback, not great receivers. They have a decent running back, but he's not the Melvin Gordon I loved and knew. But anyway, Baltimore Ravens 12-5. Lamar, I think he's gonna step it up a lot this year. They have a great defensive unit, great offensive unit. I think they'll be besides the receivers, I think they can maybe draft one in the draft. I know the receivers are a problem, but they still have a Mark Andrews. They still have a good defense. I think, and Miles Boykin. I know it sounds weird. I never knew my life would come to Miles Boykin, but Miles Boykin's an underrated receiver. I think it'd be a nice receiver for them. Well, nice receiver. Go check out my underrated players video. He's on there actually. So yeah, I think they'll go 12-5. They have a stellar defense. Okay, offense. So yeah. The Steelers, they're going 9-8. They have a good they have a great defense. Don't get me wrong. They have a horrible offense. I mean like they have a quarterback who should just retire. They have a no good running back. They have Benny Snell. They have. I know that they have Mr. TikTok. They have Mr. TikTok's brother, and then they have Butterfingers. So, but of all seriousness, they're all decent receivers. But you can't score touchdowns with a bad quarterback. It's as simple as that. So I think they'll go 9-8. Cleveland Browns 11-6. Stefanski's the coach for them. They did great this year. I think with OBJ back, he'll be a nice downfield target. Jarvis Landry and OBJ, pretty good wide receiver tandem. Nick Chubb, very great running back, top 6 in my eyes. But Baker Mayfield. Wait, did I just say Baker Mayfield? I don't know, but Baker Mayfield, pretty solid quarterback. Yeah, and their defense isn't bad either. They got John Johnson. That's not a bad signing at all. I love that signing. So yeah, I think they got some good people. I think they're gonna have a lot of success. So yeah, they're gonna be the team that goes 11-6. Cincinnati Bengals 6-11. The Bengals, with Joe Burrow back, he may be a little shabby because of injury, but they have a pretty good offense. Their defense is not so bright though, so that's why I have them at 6-11. Okay, Packers 12-5. Solid offense, solid defense, simple as that. They still have Devontae Adams, so don't be like, oh, they have no good receiving core. Aaron Rodgers throws to Devontae Adams 99.9% of the time anyway. They have Robert Tonyan, they have Aaron Jones. Hands down 12-5 for sure. I'm not being biased here. Chicago is going to be 8-9. Andy Dalton's going to mess them up, but if they got to the wild card round with having a 9-7 record with Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky, they could probably pull off an 8-9. They won't make it, but they'll definitely not have a horrible record either. So yeah, where am I? I'm losing track. I'm blind. I'm actually not, so don't worry. But the Vikings 10-7. Daniil Hunter is going to be back. That's the reason why they're 10-7. He's a sack monster. I think they have But I hope he didn't go to another team. I hope he didn't get released. I hope I didn't miss any information. But they sent a couple decent people. A couple people left. But that's okay. They have a great offense. So I think they'll go 10-7. They'll make the playoffs. Maybe lose in the wild card round or whatever round they go in. Who knows? They may not even make it. So we'll just see. But I think they have a lot of potential, frankly. The Detroit Lions, 4-13. Jared Goff's now a horrible quarterback, but now a great quarterback. They lost Kenny Galladay. Their defense is absolutely horrible. But I think they could squeak in 4 wins because they're not going to be the worst team in the NFL. So, yeah, I think they'll be 4-13. Even though they have a trashy defense, they still, Quintez Cephas may be a factor for the offense, maybe. Maybe they could draft someone. They had the 7th pick. We'll just see. Okay, where am I? The Giants. The Giants are going to be 8-9. They got Kenny Galladay, but they have Daniel Jones, Mr. I Trip. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. But anyway, before I sound more dumb and obnoxious, the Giants, pretty decent offense. Maybe the Lions a little bit. The defense isn't horrible, but it's not great either. I think they'll be 8-9. The Washington Football Team, WFT. Imagine if you switched TNF around. That would be that would definitely be a Texans. But anyway, Washington Football Team. They have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who always seems to pull everything off. But he's not the best quarterback either. They have a great offense. Great receiving core, Curtis Samuel, Jerry McLaurin, Cam Sims. Amazing running back with Antonio Gibson. Their defense isn't great, but they have a Cam Curl. Cam Curl was pretty good at the end of the year. I think they could develop him. They have Chase Young and they have John Bostic that they really didn't give a huge chance to let him, expand, see what he could do. So I think the football team's a pretty solid team. 9-8. The Eagles, they're going to be 7-10. They have Jalen Hurts. This is going to help them. But if their O-linemen can't stay healthy and their targets are horrible, then they can't really make it. Their defense isn't horrible either. They have Alex Singleton that may help them in the future. So, and Darius no, he wasn't really big play. He was Darius, sometimes good plays. But I think he could do good this year. So, Eagles, 7-10. Dallas Cowboys, they're going to be 10-7. They got Dak back. They'll get their O-line back. Basically, they're gonna flip the switch. Just need work on their defense, but that's what picks are for, right? Wink, 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 wink. So I think they'll be 10-7 for sure. Seahawks, 11-6. They have a Russell Wilson. They have a Chris Carson. They have a DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. But I still think they won't be the best record in the league. Right in my house if you want, but I think that honestly they have a lot of competition. They have lots. Their defense isn't great. I know they did good for the last 4 games, but I think they're actually going to be 3rd place. So I don't know what happened with them, but yeah, I think they're going to be 3rd place. But 11-6 is still a great record. But the Cardinals, 13-4, great offense. Solid defense with the addition of J.J. Watt. They have the 16th pick. They could basically grab a lot of people they want. A nice Byron Murphy that they could develop into a great cornerback. They got a Ronnie Hudson, who's gonna be decent for them for their own line. They have why am I stuttering? Even though Patrick Pearson gone, he's getting kind of old. They have a Buda Baker. Buddha. But anyway, yeah, so they're going to be 1st place for sure, 13-4. Where was I? Lost track. The LA Rams, 12-5. They're not going to be the best. Stafford isn't the best QB. Everyone's like, oh my God, Rams to the Super Bowl. No. They have a great defense. Don't get me wrong. They have a pretty good offense. Don't get me wrong. But I think they'll definitely be a great team. So they're gonna be 12-5. Okay, the 49ers are gonna be 9-8. They're gonna have a lot of people. coming back to their team for the injuries and everything. But Jimmy G just can't be their quarterback. But even if they draft someone at third, it may take a year to develop. So I think they'll be 9-8, pretty decent record still. Panthers 6-11. Sam Darnold may take a year or so to actually work in as a great quarterback, but anyway, I think the Panthers will be 6-11. Great defense. Great offense. Wait, no, not great defense. What am I talking about? What the? But anyway, they need work on their defense, but they have a couple young stars like Jeremy Chin, Yeturgos Matos. But anyway, I think they'll be 6-11. Buccaneers 13-4. Not self-explanatory like the Chiefs. We're gonna move on. New Orleans Saints 9-8. They're gonna fall. Drew Brees from Jameis Winston. We missed you, Drew. But Jameis Winston can still gun balls. He just needs to work on his accuracy. Defense isn't amazing, but it's not horrible either. It's pretty good defense. Their offense isn't horrible, but they need to work on their receiving core. So I think they'll be 9-8. Okay, our last team, ATL, Falcons, 5-12. I know they had the fourth pick. But that's cool. But you know what? I think Matt Ryan is getting old. Defense is struggling. They're gonna be 5-12. Okay, but that's gonna be that. Those were my projections for teams for the year. Hope you liked it. Remember, football's late. Peace.